Hi, this is Dr. Stephanie Wautier, and I'm the host of Conversations with a Chiropractor. This is not a health how-to, but rather a conversation with some amazing people I've had the pleasure of being with on my journey of life. Think of it more like Tuesdays with Maury, a fireside chat, or chicken soup for the soul. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and enjoy this conversation with a chiropractor.
Today on Conversations with a Chiropractor, I am joined by Diana Oman, and many of you in the Upper Peninsula know her as a healer and an author. But I'm going to go way back to Diana's childhood, growing up on the water at Little Girls Point. Tell our listeners, where's Little Girls Point?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's my pleasure. I'm so happy to talk to you.
This will be fun.
It will be.
Yes. So Little Girls Point is on the far western tip of the Upper Peninsula.
Okay.
It's 6 miles from the Wisconsin border. It's a tiny little, mostly seasonal community. There are a few residents that live there all year, maybe a couple dozen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was this a summer place for you? This is where your folks brought you in the summer?
No, this is where we lived all year long.
You did? Okay.
It was amazing. It was 16 miles from the nearest town, which would be Ironwood. And so, yeah, we were out there.
Wow.
You know.
So kind of a childhood of roughing it, right? Or not having the like easy luxuries that we would have today to run to Target or to run to the grocery store on your way home.
No, we went to town once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What kind of work did your parents do?
My dad, during the winter, was a logger,
Okay.
but and he did some construction. Like he made the cabinet woodworking for mobile homes. There was a mobile home factory in Ironwood, and my dad had this huge wood shop.
Okay.
So he did that for a while. Yeah. But during the summer, from May to October, they had their own little resort. Like
No kidding.
we had a couple cabins and a larger cabin. And my dad made 12 wooden 18-foot lap straight boats that we rented out. We had a gas pump. And it started out as a candy shop, candy and pop, but ended up within a few years of being an agate shop, a rock shop.
Wow, right on your property.
Yes.
Wow.
So I grew up, helping to rent boats and bail out boats and sell agates and ice cream and candy and a few camping supplies and cleaning cabins.
So
Pumping gas.
very
Yeah.
entrepreneurial. You grew up working in your family business.
My dad was quite an entrepreneur, and my mom, very creative. My dad cut and polished agates and other rocks, and then my mom made jewelry.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so popular today, but this would have been in what, like, decade?
I'm 76.
Okay.
Okay. And the day I was born, it was a hot Sunday afternoon, I guess, what I'm told. And the lake was calm, and all 12 boats were rented out. So that part of it and the candy shop, the cabins, that was all going on then.
During your birth, when you were born.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we had people that would come stay in the cabins every summer, from down in Wisconsin or Chicago, and they were regulars. And then also when I was little, my dad was a commercial fisherman.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was kind of fun to go out there, help them bring in the nets and pick
How
the fish.
amazing experiences you had.
I did. It was an amazing childhood as I look back. When I was little, I was so far away from everybody in town, but I got to learn about nature. I got to learn the nuances of Lake Superior. Yeah.
Have all that. Like all the experiences that people pay dearly for that they want to escape into these pure areas right along the lake shore.
Oh, exactly.
That is
Exactly.
amazing.
And when I was little, well, maybe like 12-ish, I think, I was allowed to go fishing by myself with a motorboat. My mom would say, well, who's going to go out and catch fish for supper?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I couldn't wait until I was old enough to go do it myself.
Now, did you have any siblings?
There were 6 in my family. I have 3 sisters, 2 brothers. They were all older than me,
Okay.
so I was the baby of the family, 12 years younger than my closest brother.
Wow.
So, yeah.
A lot of people telling you what to do and how to do it.
Oh, yes.
Older siblings are great for that.
Right. And so right now there's just one of my sisters and myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But we're going to go way, way, way back, even to
Okay.
your grandfather. So, did you know your grandfather growing up?
No, my grandfather died way before I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
Mhm.
this your dad's or your mom's father?
That was my dad's dad.
Okay.
Right.
And he had some sort of healing capability, right?
Yeah, apparently. From the Nordic cultures, there are people who are called blood stoppers, who actually having the ability to speak a Bible verse and something else, which I'm not sure what it is, they were able to, someone or some animal was bleeding, through their mind, they could stop it. And apparently that happened with my dad. He was on our property. He had cut his big toe with an axe and he was bleeding. And somebody must have come to my grandparents' house and said, you need to go help. And so he did this in his mind. And by the time he got to my dad, the blood had stopped.
Wow.
But apparently he did this for neighbors and neighbors' animals. And yeah,
Would they have attributed it to like a spiritual healing? Like were they of a specific faith that he felt or that they thought that he had like a spiritual gift?
I've tried to research a little bit on blood stoppers, and this is Scandinavian. My grandparents came from a Swedish island off the coast of Finland.
Oh.
But I do believe that we're all also, back in ancestry type of thing. There's connections with the Laplanders.
They're
And
Finnish, right?
you're
The Laplanders Finnish?
I think they're Finnish.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, there's word of blood stoppers in some of the writings about
Oh, wow.
things. So was it like a shamanic thing? Is it a spiritual healing kind of thing? I'd say yes to all above, all the natural healing that people were regularly used to using back then.
And would this have been something that was like passed down from generation to generation?
That's what my dad said, that it had to be passed down on the male side from the 7th son to the 7th son, that kind of thing. So he did not learn any of that from his dad. He did say that My aunts could have learned it,
Mhm.
however, but they didn't want to. They were afraid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we look at even what was coming about, right? Like if you looked at the world at that time, were they becoming, we societally were becoming more medicalized and perhaps ignoring some of those things that seemed like old wives' tales? We were proving things. We were proving that, penicillin could kill bacteria. Like it was probably an interesting time for people like your aunts to be living. They probably started to shun that, maybe?
Right.
I don't know.
I think it's kind of a religious shunning
Mm.
as well. That's what, a sin?
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though it could have by any means been a spiritual gift, they viewed it as being not from their God.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Maybe.
Something like that.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you grow up and you graduate from, did you go to Ironwood High School?
I did.
And then tell me about your choice for a profession.
So, yeah, I spent 1 year at the community college in Ironwood, and then I transferred to Northern Michigan University here in Marquette, and I majored in health and recreation and education.
So there was an opening at your high school that you graduated from in Ironwood for a physical education teacher?
There was,
Okay.
yes, and so I applied and I got it.
Wow.
So for 17 years, I was the 7th through 12th grade gym teacher, and then also the girls' basketball coach, tennis coach, volleyball coach, track field, that.
A pretty small school, I would imagine. A lot of those girls probably played many sports.
I think they did, yeah.
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 Which is really neat,
Yeah.
that they had that well-rounded experience.
It was an amazing time, and, being able to teach people how to have fun. I couldn't believe people were paying me to do it.
So tell me a little bit about, what happened after 18 years, or that 17 years of being an instructor? You started to get into a little bit of like looking deeper into like healing and alternative health.
I took a sabbatical from teaching, went down to Michigan State, and explored the possibility of becoming a physical therapist.
Okay.
And I even apprenticed with a physical therapist while I was down there. Loved it. But then all my credits were older.
Mm.
So basically, I did take some credits at Michigan State, but then realized I would have to have another 5 years of education. And so I chose another route. I met some people while I was in Lansing who were starting a patient advocacy company,
Hmm.
and they wanted me to come and work for them. Don't go back to teaching. And I was going, what? Because I had fully intended to go back. But I stayed that summer and worked with them and loved what they were doing and how they were doing it, and the care and compassion, and how it was a win-win for patients and hospitals and us. I stayed, and I did that for 18 more years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how beautiful and unique, like something brings you down to East Lansing. You really think physical therapy is what you're going to do. And then patient advocacy
Yeah.
for 18 more years.
A plot twist that I didn't see coming. Right. So the people that owned this company were very much into the holistic alternative medicine field.
Okay.
And so part of my job with them would be to travel to different hospitals downstate and we worked with the billing offices
Oh.
and we helped the billing offices, we helped their patients who had large medical bills to be able to get Medicaid or Social Security disability so that their hospital bill could be paid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eek. I mean, it sounds like a very unique company
Yeah.
and unique people that began this company.
Yeah, they were both attorneys. They worked for Michigan, for the state of Michigan,
Okay.
in the Department of Human Services.
Yeah.
And they had this idea, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to travel to these other towns downstate. So they would give me, at that time, it started out with cassette tapes, and then it was CDs of this holistic world that I didn't know anything about. And then they loved to go on holistic retreats and that. And so they'd let me tag along.
Wow.
So it opened a whole different world to me, which I soaked up like a sponge.
Tell me a little bit about the experience that you had with this internationally known healer, Rosalind Bruyere. Or
Bruyere.
Okay.
Bruyere.
Yay. Tell me about her and tell me about what she was up to then.
She was and is still a healer, an energetic healer who is able to connect with the body's energy centers, which are called chakras. And so for a person, she would simply either lay hands on or sit in her chair and just connect with that person's energy, and they were healed.
Wow.
And that blew my mind because the very first session or event that I went to with her, she was talking about this guy who had a heart attack, and he, you know, had to have he had these blockages, and he was going to have heart surgery. And I worked with him, and the blockages disappeared, and he didn't have to have heart surgery. And I kind of went, I remember clearly sitting in that chair and going, wait, what did I just hear her say?
Mm-hmm.
That can't be.
Right.
But yeah,
Like disbelief.
yeah, because that was very new to me.
Yeah.
But then I went with my bosses to more of her workshops, and yeah, got very familiar with her work and loved what she was doing and how she was doing it, and the integrity and the safety for her clients. So I had this idea to ask her if she could connect me with my grandfather.
Mm.
And that was fascinating because she agreed, and I had gifted her some tobacco and, a couple other gifts in exchange. And she sat me down. This was at the end of a conference, and called me up to the front, and I sat there. And she said, "This room is very full."
Hmm.
She said, "I see your Nordic shaman and all of his reindeer."
Wow. Your grandfather being the Nordic shaman?
Well, apparently that would be like my spirit guide,
Oh.
my Nordic spirit guide, which I do call on. Yeah. And that was fascinating. And so she initiated me in a couple things that are like what my grandfather did. With that, I have never stopped blood for myself or anybody else,
Okay.
but I've connected and other ways. Yeah.
Mhm. Would you call it energy healing? Would you say that that's the category of healer you are?
I would have to say that is the category for sure. Mhm. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how that your personal healing is similar or different than like Reiki. Would you say that this is
Mm.
Reiki or is this a different thing than Reiki?
I think it's energy called from above, which would mean you're divine, God, essence, spirit, great spirit, whatever culture you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I believe all cultures have a God of some sort that they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And in all of the teachings that I've personally experienced, th- they're all the same. Just looking through at God, at the source, through a different window. But it is the oneness that connects every human being, every sentient being, the connection with the one.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this sort of gift, maybe I don't want to say departed on you, but maybe it awakened in you through Rosalind.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also go to do more studying, it specifically with Reiki, like with Shelby Hammett.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the Reiki teachers. Many other people, Larry Dosey, Joan Borsenko, Raymond Moody, Daniel Brinkley, so many different people it sounds like you've studied under.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mhm.
probably said some of those names incorrectly. Sorry.
And if you Google them, you'll find all of them. They're very well known in the esoteric fields.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
So you have basically your life takes this unexpected turn. You're in Lansing. You kind of get connected into this alternative healing world.
Mhm.
Are you doing all of this studying while you're working at that company? While you're doing this, that's your life at that moment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because, like I said, they would send me off from Lansing to Flint, and during that time, while I'm traveling, I'm listening to the CDs and just soaking it all up. And then they were going to go to Hawaii to learn some huna, which is the native Hawaiian healing ways.
Okay.
So in the month of March in 2003, 4, and 5, we went to the Big Island and learned from one of the kahuna, one of the leaders in teaching there, and learned a practice that I still use every day. It's called Ho'oponopono, and it's forgiving, because forgiveness, the Hawaiians believe that you have to forgive in order to make space for healing.
Mm.
Because if you hold bad stuff within you, there's no room for healing. So they would actually go and say, like, Grandma, I'm so sorry that, you're sick, and I'm so sorry that I caused you any pain, and that I yelled at you the other day, or whatever. They verbalize their sorries. Will you forgive me? And that's something that was largely missing in our culture.
Oh, absolutely. Not to throw my parents or any other parents of a generation under the bus, but you never told your child you were sorry for something.
Mm-hmm.
You never apologized for losing your temper. And it's actually one of the things that specifically as a parent, I've been very, very, very consciously mindful to do is
Mm-hmm.
to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
To say, you know what? Yes, you were misbehaving, but I lost my temper. And then not that it's an excuse, but I try to give my kids a little bit of perspective. Like, you know what? Like, it was a long, hard day at work, or, just to sort of like, I don't know, maybe that's good or bad, rationalizing. But I wanted them to know my heart,
Yeah.
that I'm sorry,
Right. And you're owning your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So a kahuna who was healing, like a kahuna is like a professor in our culture, one who knows stuff about a certain area. Okay.
An expert.
An expert.
And perhaps in that culture, revered, maybe as an elder or as a leader in the community or in the
Exactly.
tribe.
And so before a kahuna would come to the home to heal that person, all family members had to do ho'oponopono with them. And ho'oponopono is to make it right. Ho'o is to make it right and true between two people. Pono is right and true. So pono.
Okay. So say that whole term again. Ho'o.
Ho'o,
Okay.
pono.
Ho'o, pono.
Yes. And so, yeah, that was what, 20 some years ago? I still use that every day.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's just become part of me, and I believe that it has transformed myself in ways that I didn't know would happen. Mm-hmm.
You know what I think, just from like a very surface level kind of like nowadays, is that it's humility, it's humbling yourself, because pride and the ego can suffocate us, right? And it takes humility to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, right?
Right.
Like that, I think, can be one of the flaws societally, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the pride, the ego, the greed.
Right, because it's not life-giving, it's life-sucking.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Hawaiians, from what I understand and have learned, is doing things that are right and true so that you can stand in your power.
Like purity comes to mind.
Right.
Like standing in your pure power.
Right.
Like not power from an outside source or from like a title, but like authentically within your soul.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing.
Right. It is. Mm-hmm.
You not only went to Hawaii, but you have been trained, I'm going to make a list, in Tai Chi, Lao Chi, therapeutic touch, healing touch for animals, the body talk system, the Huna intensives in Hawaii. You've done an immersion in the law of attraction with Abraham Hicks. I mean, this is like so deep. Soul body fusion facilitator, heart activation facilitator. This is like been your life's work of studying.
It has. And I'm actually learning a new one called Zero Ishiki.
Ooh.
It's a Japanese approach to healing.
Wow. Tell us about that a little more.
It's a process to identify through muscle testing energetic stresses that are within your system. And it could be, for example, like a shoulder, or it could just be in your whole system, or you can zero in.
This is a very different kind of healing modality, but I'm going to tie it in. I've had my friend Dr. Jill Balla, who's a chiropractor, on, and she has like a tool that she uses that, for lack of a better term, is energetic. And she sort of uses this analogy. If you bump your toe on the way to getting your arm sliced off. I hate to be graphic, but the toe isn't the biggest priority of healing. It's like the bleeding arm that got
Mhm.
like deeply cut.
Right.
So sometimes I think that we are like the toe, we're focusing on like the body's wrong priority. Like maybe you're diagnosed with, I don't know, irritable bowel syndrome, but you actually have a yeast overgrowth. Or, if we want to even go like energetically, you maybe have like you're in a horrible relationship and you're always nervous to go home and your stomach
Mhm.
acid is like, I mean, I always say I love Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score. It's so profound to me that you've done all this deep diving energetically, because sometimes I think people literally cut themselves off from thinking about that. It's
Mhm.
just black and white. My shoulder hurts. I must have aggravated my shoulder.
Mhm.
But what is really in the depths of them? And like even the Hawaiian healing that you talked about, like how many people would have a daily practice of righting wrongs, making sure that they are forgiven, that they are asking for forgiveness?
Mhm.
Like in my mind or opinion, that would clear so much quote unquote bad energy.
It does.
No?
And when that bad in quotes energy is cleared, then there's room for healing. And in all of those modalities, there's that common thread that there's always an emotional component. There's always something that's been brewing, and you haven't allowed the energy from that situation or that person or the workspace or you haven't allowed that to flow through your system. We keep it inside, and it's got to squirt out eventually, somehow.
Yes.
And we're physical. This is our physical temple.
Yes.
So it's going to squirt out in some kind of physical form.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, like, if I have something going on, I check my emotional side in that. And I also come to you for chiropractic, you know?
Because it can cause a physical subluxation. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing too. I am like pro healing in every way, form, sense,
Mhm.
but we do have to acknowledge that even if we clear ourselves energetically, there's the possibility that a structural issue sort of remained.
Exactly.
But by never, if somebody comes into me, always with the neck, we know, you and I can say there's something that is unresolved. There's
Mhm.
something that has been brewing, trying to squirt out, as you say, in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So there's so much to talk about, but I want to
Mhm.
jump to your lovely book that is
Oh,
called
sure.
My Heart Smiles.
Mhm.
That you wrote that in, did you write it in 2014 or that's when it was published?
That's when it was published in 2014, and that little book has a life of its own. It's still being, "Oh, hey, take me over there and do a presentation," and yeah,
You,
got one lined up for later this month.
yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Tell me a little bit before we dive into the book.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about what prompted you to write this book.
I consider myself kind of an accidental writer,
Okay.
author. I was following a practice from the Abraham Hicks law of attraction, having a difficulty falling asleep. Okay. So they offered this suggestion about going through the alphabet, and with each letter, pick a word that feels good to you.
Hmm.
So
Dang.
lay down in your bed at night and then just go through the alphabet. A, awesome. that feels good to me, that word, or amazing, or something like that. Take a deep breath, and then go to B. Beauty. C. Creation. Just go right through the alphabet with a word that feels good to you. And it might be a word like that. It might be a person. Oh, because often I would slip my sister's names in there, like that. And eventually what happens is that you can't make it all the way through the alphabet because you've fallen asleep.
Yeah.
So with that practice, I got bored with one word. So then I did like 2 words or a phrase for each letter. And then I couldn't remember them. So I started writing them down. And in my clump of friends here in Marquette, I happened to bring it up that, my Abraham group friends, that I had written these down. And one of my friends, Colleen O'Hara, said, we could make a book. I could illustrate it for you. And I went, what? But we ended up doing it. And she illustrated in a fun and primary color kind of way. And yeah, so it became a positive affirmation book in an ABC style. But it's not just for tiny people growing up. It's for anybody.
Yeah. I'm going to read this J page.
Okay.
So in big, bright letters on the top, it says joyful, exclamation point. When I feel joyful, I jump with joy. My life is a jamming jubilee, and I am just right for me. So, this is spectacular. This is wonderful. What a cool, of course, like what a neat idea. And yeah, my heart smiles.
Yeah. And it was just going to be a book for family and friends, right? But little did I know that if you want a book with a hardcover book in color, and you want it, what is that, like 8 by 11? That's
like a page size, like
page
8 by 11.
Yeah. That's going to be pricey.
Yes.
And so, yeah, but I wanted a book, right? Because this is,
Yes, because
I'm going to write. I want a book.
absolutely.
And so, yeah. So I had to order like 4,000 copies.
So is it self-published?
It's self-published.
And how did you go about finding someone who would create these books?
Well, in our Marquette area, in Ishpeming, Stacy Willie at Globe Printing walked me through the whole process. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, yes, even the book at the very beginning stages, it came in a couple weeks before it was meant to. And I hadn't even sent in all the money for it. It was like, let's get this out there. We got things to say. And so it was, like I said, it was just going to be a book for family and friends, but then I had to order a lot. So then there were marketing kind of things to do. It's all across the United States. It's in 10 countries that I know of.
Wow.
I've gone on book tours around, of course, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Hawaii. In Hawaii, I went to 6 different schools, 900 little children called keiki. They're called keiki, the little ones there. I thought, are they even going to relate to, this howly? And they loved it. My L, I have to tell you about my L.
Tell us about your L.
So my L is loving.
Mm.
And the picture is of this little girl. And I should say, the little girl is like my mini me.
Hmm.
And
Like your inner child?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so the little girl is swimming with a dolphin. So it says, when I feel loving, I am lovable. I love myself and I love my life. And my heart smiles. So when I was in Hawaii, I came to this page and it's up on a big screen, with my presentation. And I told him, I have to tell you this story about this. And because I have friends in Hawaii who have taken me, we put our mask and snorkel and fins on, and we go right from shore out and just hang out in the water,
Hmm.
and the dolphins come.
Wow.
Now, it's illegal to do that now. You can't go out and swim with the wild dolphins
Okay.
now. But at that time you could. And so the dolphins, so we had swam out, there was no dolphins. Nobody. And so I thought, well, I'll read them my book. Maybe they'll come. And so I had my snorkel on like this. I'm going, A is for awesome. It went right through my book.
Hmm.
When I got to L, loving, the dolphins showed up.
Wow.
I had the Hawaiian teachers and the little kids crying because they know their connection with the ocean and with the dolphins and how special that is.
Wow. So what a beautiful, like, specific page for everyone who looks at your book, reads your book.
Mm-hmm.
What a moment.
Yeah,
What
that
a
was.
moment.
You can't forget. You can't write stuff like that.
No, you can't.
No.
Yeah, that would be in like a blockbuster movie.
Yes.
Diana is reciting her book underwater through her snorkel, and the dolphins come.
Yeah.
When you get to loving.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say about my book is, the words are big and bold.
Mm-hmm.
I was told I had to have a glossary. I tried to write a glossary and it didn't work. So what I did instead, it was like, where was I? Where was I when I was feeling awesome? Where was I when I was feeling brilliant or daring or fabulous? And so then at the end of the book, it's like, or at the end of the glossary, it's, well, now what's your alphabet story?
Wow.
So I've used this in schools with young authors,
Mm-hmm.
because it just gives you a chance to stop and appreciate all the good stuff that you've experienced yourself and where you are. And in this moment, if you're not feeling well, try to shift your mind to, okay, well, things don't seem so great right now, but what do I have that I can appreciate right now?
Mm-hmm.
And you can talk yourself up the emotional scale.
I think so many of us, I'll use Western culture as an example, and I am overgeneralizing, but so many of us, and even my sweet 17-year-old daughter the other night was like, I just feel like it's a checklist. I'm just checking off this. And, she's had a very intense senior year, College of Music auditions.
Mm-hmm.
And there is literally some days where she will get up, get ready for school, go to school until 3, have piano lessons, violin lessons, have an orchestra rehearsal, and she gets home at 10. And the other night, she's like, I didn't study for my statistics exam. And I was like, just go to bed. Like, the best thing you can do is sleep.
Yeah.
And some people might say you've allowed her to be overscheduled, or they can, whatever. People, this is a moment in time. But how many of us, we wake up, we rush to work, we run home, we go to the gym, and then we basically mind numb ourselves with television or something to quote unquote soothe ourselves.
Right.
And then we go to bed and then we wake up the next day. There is so little time in our life for self-reflection, I think, in general,
Mm-hmm.
and so little emphasis put on that. And I'm going to kind of circle this back, but the buzz all over the place is like, what can I do for my nervous system? What can I do for my nervous system? And I talk about this a few episodes ago, like just really talking about what is your actual nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not one moment in this whole time of our talking have you used the word nervous system, and yet you're healing your nervous system.
Yes.
I won't say it, the hawapaha popo, ho'o, ho'o, ho'o,
Ho'oponopono.
ho'oponopono.
Right.
I mean, what can be more healing of your soulful essence in your body and soul
Mm-hmm.
than that forgiveness?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we've spun out of control culturally,
Yeah, because if we would take 10 minutes to do some breath work or to do ho'oponopono or some calming thing, that's considered selfish, because you should be doing this and you should be doing that and I should be doing this and paying attention to. I think priorities have gotten a little wobbly with that. It's really important to take the time,
Mm-hmm.
do that first,
Yeah.
and then.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going really deep. Like, and I even maybe mentioned in that podcast, like, just breathe, right? But that is something that a lot of people can't even do, is just slow down to take a deep breath. I
Right.
mean, that is like so surface, so superficial. And I mean, if we go back to this glossary
Mm-hmm.
and how you wrote all of these things, A to Z, like where you were when you felt certain emotions,
Right.
I am actually going to challenge our listeners to do that, to do this exercise, because I think that alone is healing. That could be
Oh, it is.
their healing process.
And I've had feedback that people who haven't been able to get to sleep have fallen to sleep using that.
Mm.
You know what happened with me? I would do this in the evening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after about a month, I would find myself, before I even opened my eyes in the morning, I was going through an alphabet of good feeling words. And that popped me out of bed in a good feeling place.
Yeah.
I never expected that, but it happened, and it can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this might be the most beautiful place to close our time together,
Mhm.
because your glossary, I'm just going to read one. When I feel energized, I eagerly sit out on the bow of the boat, any lake or ocean, feel my electric connection with the wind, the sun, and the waves. Like, just thinking about that positive moment experience, bringing yourself back to that
Mm-hmm.
is healing.
Mm-hmm.
You end your My Heart Smiles book, you say, what's your alphabet story?
Mm-hmm.
So whether someone does this at night to go through and help them relax and help them sleep and help them connect, like, what a brilliant and powerful thing would this be for us all to write our own alphabet stories,
Exactly.
Like,
People are into journaling and such, and sometimes the journaling is all the things that went wrong. Well, what about journaling some good into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Some good, positive energy, because we are what we think about.
Absolutely.
We just are.
With so many negative things happening in the world,
Mm-hmm.
the other day I thought, I'm going to try to see how grateful I can be for every moment, right?
Mhm.
So I just, like I woke up and my dog, first thing needs to go out. And I was like, oh, I'm so grateful for my dog. And then I walked down our steps and I was like, oh, I'm so grateful for this super cushiony carpet that I get to put my feet on.
Yeah.
And then I opened the door to go to bring her out. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but some mornings I have no thoughts except for I better get the dog up before she pees on the carpet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so
It's life.
it's life. The intentionality of it, the purpose, the focus.
Yeah.
If we all could shift our focus,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
How powerful. What would that do?
It would do a lot
Mm.
to change the the vibration and the mass consciousness
Mm-hmm.
of yourself, of the community, of the country, of the world. Yeah.
So profound.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wants a healing session with you specifically, do you still do those?
I do, upon request.
Okay.
I don't have a physical office anymore. But yeah, and
Cool.
I can be found I'm on Facebook,
Tell us how to
and
find you.
and well, probably Facebook would be the simplest way,
Okay.
the easiest way. Couple other things, can we just pop
Yeah.
on in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I was involved in a project for a couple years, and it was called the Uber Wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes, and with Kim Key and Ava Miller, Cindy Whitehouse from our community, and our our film director made a little documentary that was at the Fresh
Fresh
Coast
Coast
Film
Festival.
Festival, and was well received.
Yes.
And that's available on Tubi right now for free. You just go on Tubi and look at Wolf Vision Docs, and it's episode 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about Uper Wisdom and
Sure.
how that came to be. So, Kim originally wrote the book about basically the wisdom of women,
Uber women. Yes.
around a campfire.
Right.
And you guys were dear, dear friends. And, you were one of those wise women. And then for this project, for this movie documentary, you took a woman from New York City. Was she from New York City?
Oh, yes. So from the Fresh Coast Film Festival, someone from PBS saw that and then came to us and asked if we would be willing to create a 6-episode series for PBS TV on taking someone from a city environment out into out into nature in the UP and teaching about the healing ways of nature. And so we did that. And it is almost completed. About a month ago, we talked with our producer, and it's nearing completion. So that'll be exciting to see if indeed it comes out on PBS or if it will be on another channel.
Wow. Let's just take a moment
Mm-hmm.
to honor Kim
Yes.
and let's talk about her a little bit.
Sure.
Kim Key was an amazing healer in this Marquette community,
Mm-hmm.
craniosacral therapist, a dear, beautiful, sweet friend.
Yes.
And she left this earth in her physical form in October.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were dear friends. You knew her longer than I did.
For about 20 years when her and her husband, Rob, moved to Marquette. Yeah.
She, I think, embodied all that is good, you know?
Oh my goodness. What a beautiful, gentle spirit. So connected to nature. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So connected. Whether it be the water or the forest or the tiny little moss and greens, every aspect. Yeah.
We love you, Kim.
Well, we sure do, and we miss ya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's with us.
Mm-hmm.
We feel her. We feel her. And we know that she's guiding our producer, Kelly, in completing the film series. And yeah.
What a beautiful legacy. What a beautiful piece of work that
Oh my
she is in.
goodness.
We get to see her.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if our listeners would like to know more about Kim, I would suggest going on Tubi and watching that documentary, because the essence of Kim is throughout that whole documentary.
Yes.
And she and Kelly, our producer, had a podcast called Youper Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're a guest on her podcast.
Yes.
And I was a guest on her
Yeah.
podcast. Were us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of us from the area.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
So how can we wrap this up and give our listeners something like tangible and beautiful to think about your life and your healing journey and the legacy that you leave?
I guess I would say, and this just brings to mind, never stop learning, never stop exploring. That keeps you younger, keeps you young, keeps your life force energy flowing. Be curious. Be curious. In today's social media and such, and in business now, there's so much technology with AI and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm in another business now because I'm curious. So I have a new website that a long time ago, a friend and I were we had a business plan and everything. We wanted to have a sporting goods business because we were involved in sports and involved in outdoors and all that. And being the kayaker that I am, this opportunity came up within this past year for a little online gear and equipment business. So it's called Light Earth Goods, or Light Earth Gear, rather. And what I'm finding, jumping in this way, kind of fulfills something kind of like a dream I dropped years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it came full circle, came back to me. But what is curious is that I'm loving figuring out how to use AI and how to do this. And oh my gosh, that's what you do to put this on there. And, who knows if anything will happen with this little business. But what I'm learning for myself is that spark of, oh my gosh, that was fun to learn. Now let's try this. And can I do that? And I think I just have that. It's a never-ending desire to keep learning. And I think that helps to keep me young. So
Yeah.
stay curious. Know that everything is working out for you.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Even if it doesn't look like it on the surface, it's a plot twist, but it's working out for you.
Yes.
Everything is working out for you. And if you adopt that, then you respond to things. You don't react to things.
That's powerful.
And that helps you to have a little better perspective on where you're going. Yeah.
Diana, thank you so much for being
You're welcome.
today. You have so much knowledge, so much healing power and potential that you've shared with us. So if you want to find the book My Heart Smiles, or if you want to find Diana Oman, you can find her on Facebook, and I'm going to tag her.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
It was fun. Thank you, Diana.
All right. Thank you.
If you have been inspired by Diana's story, Diana would really love to connect with an organization or foundation that helps marginalized, abused children or teens, or even adults. She would love to distribute the books that she has left to help to build confidence, self-worth, and self-esteem. If any of you listeners is inspired and would like to connect with Diana on this, you can find her on Facebook, and you can see in the show notes the specific link.
Hi, I'm Katie Duke, and I've been a nurse for over 20 years. Listen, I used to think that I was my most stylish in my 20s, but honestly, style and confidence only get better with age. And that is why I love Figs. These scrubs are beautiful, comfortable, and they are built to last. They're not those boxy, scratchy uniforms that we all started out in. No. These fit perfectly. They feel amazing, and the quality is just wow! My favorite color? Burgundy. It's chic, it's timeless, and it's even the same color as my apartment, because I'm kind of obsessed with it. And I love adding custom embroidery to make my scrubs as personal as my style. And since I work in telehealth, my embroidered figs even double as my ID badge. It's never too late to reinvent yourself or your scrubs. Get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with the code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX for 15% off your first order.
Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast, would you please rate it, review it, like, or subscribe? You can find me on social media at wautierwellness.com, Dr. Stephanie Wautier on Instagram, or Wautier Wellness Chiropractic and Massage on Facebook. And I'm so curious where your next conversation will take you.